If you had seen Jamila walking down that dusty road that morning, you would never believe she once lived in a big city. Her steps were slow, her face covered with a scarf, and her small box looked older than her shoes. People stood in front of their houses, staring. Whispers followed her like wind. Is that not Jamila? Jamila? The same one that ran away 20 years ago? She's back? Nobody came close. They only watched as she walked through the same streets that once carried her laughter. Jamila didn't look at them. Her eyes were fixed on the road, the one that led to her father's old house. Inside her chest, her heart beat fast. Every house she passed carried a memory of the girl she used to be. 20 years ago, Jamila had left this same village in anger and shame. She had sworn never to return, but life has a way of bringing people back to the places they tried hardest to forget. When she reached the house, she dropped her bag and stood for a long time, staring at the cracked walls. The gate was gone. The roof had fallen in some parts. But the scent of home, dust, rain, and distant firewood was still there. She sighed deeply. Home, she whispered. Even if it doesn't remember me, I remember it. Just then, a little girl ran past her, chasing a chicken. The girl stopped and stared. Auntie, are you looking for someone? Jamila smiled weakly. I used to live here, long ago. Before the girl could answer, an old woman shouted from afar, Tommy, who are you talking to? When the old woman saw Jamila, her eyes widened. She dropped the bowl in her hands. Jamila? Jamila's heart skipped. It was Mama Dami, her mother's best friend, the woman who used to braid her hair every Sunday evening. Mama Dami, she whispered. The old woman walked closer, tears already forming. My daughter, you came back. They hugged for a long time, the kind of hug that squeezes out 20 years of silence. And Mendy's. That night, Jamila slept in her old room. She couldn't sleep for long. The sound of crickets, the smell of the night, everything brought back the memories she had buried. She remembered her father shouting the last time she saw him. She remembered running away. And she remembered the promise she made to herself, never to return until she had made something of her life. But here she was, back with nothing except a small bag and too many regrets. At dawn, when the first cock crowed, she sat outside under the mango tree. She looked at the sky and whispered, God, you brought me back here for a reason. Don't let me waste it. Just then, a familiar voice called her name softly. Jamila? She turned and froze. It was Idris, the man she once loved, the one she left behind without saying goodbye. His hair was graying now, his face older, but those eyes still carried the same gentleness that once made her heart dance. He smiled slowly. I heard someone said you're back. I had to see it myself. Jamila's mouth went dry. She tried to speak, but only tears came out. Idris sighed. You shouldn't have come back alone. She wiped her face. I didn't come for them, Idris. I came for me. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. Welcome home, Jamila. That night, Jamila stood outside, staring at the moon. She didn't know that in just a few days, the real reason she came back would shake the whole village and reveal a secret no one ever imagined she was carrying. By the second day, Jamila knew her return was the talk of the entire community. Everywhere she passed, conversation stopped. Women whispered, men stared. Children, who didn't even know her name, heard stories about her that weren't true, and some that were. Mamadou told her, don't mind them, my daughter. People always talk, even when they know nothing. But Jamila knew they had every reason to talk, because the Jamila they remembered had left in disgrace. Back then, Jamila was only 19, the prettiest girl in the village. Her laughter filled the air like music. Her father, Elder Haruna, was a proud man, strict but respected. He wanted his daughter to marry young and marry right. But Jamila wanted more. She wanted the city. She wanted freedom. She wanted to be someone. Then Idris came, tall, gentle, with a future that looked promising. They loved each other quietly, like people who knew the world wouldn't understand. Idris had plans to move to the city, to work, to build a life. He begged Jamila to wait for him, but she couldn't. After one big argument with her father, she packed her things and left the village with a small bag and too much pride. That was the last time she saw her father alive. The city welcomed her with noise, lights, and hunger. She stayed with a friend for a few weeks, but soon, reality began to show. Finding a job wasn't easy. Finding a good man was even harder. There were days she slept on a bench on the bridge, clutching her bag like a pillow. There were nights she cried, remembering the village and the sound of her mother's voice. Still, Jamila didn't go back. She promised herself she'd return one day rich, beautiful, and untouchable. She even told herself she'd build a big house for her parents, but dreams don't always go the way we plan. One afternoon, she met a man named Hassan. He drove a black car, spoke softly, and made her feel seen. He told her she was special. He said he could make her life easy. For the first time, Jamila thought her luck had changed. Hassan rented her a small apartment, bought her clothes, and promised marriage. She believed him, until she found out he already had a wife and 2 children. When she confronted him, everything changed. He left her with nothing, not even rent money. That night, the landlord threw her out. Jamila sat on the roadside till morning, staring at the city she once thought would save her. That was the night she decided to survive no matter what it cost her. Jamila started selling fruits at a junction. She met people, learned the streets, and built a quiet strength inside her. Sometimes, kind strangers helped her. Other times, she faced things she'd never want to remember, but she survived. Year after year, she worked hard, kept her head down, and grew older. She learned to forgive herself slowly, painfully. Then one day, she heard news from a friend back home. Her father was gone, her mother too. They died years apart, never seeing her again. That was the day Jamila realized she had been running all her life, not just from her village, but from herself. Months before she came back, Jamila received a letter, a handwritten one, from someone named Tommy. She almost threw it away, thinking it was a mistake. But when she opened it, her heart stopped. The letter read, "Dear Auntie Jamila, Mama said before she died that I should write to you if I ever find your name in her old book. I don't know you, but she said you are the reason she had hope. I want to know where you are. I want to meet you." The letter was signed by a girl from her own village, a girl she didn't know existed. Something inside Jamila shifted. A quiet voice whispered, "It's time to go home." So she returned to find peace, to forgive herself, to meet whoever had written that letter. But coming home wasn't easy. Every corner reminded her of what she lost. 3 days later, Jamila finally met the girl who wrote that letter, and what the girl told her changed everything. Jamila stepped out slowly, and there she was, a young girl in a faded blue dress, maybe 17 or 18. Her face was bright, but her eyes carried something older, pain and hope mixed together. When she saw Jamila, she smiled nervously. "Auntie Jamila." Jamila nodded. "Yes, my dear. Are you Tommy?" The girl's eyes filled with tears. "I thought I'd never find you." They stood there in silence for a while, 2 generations of women bound by something deeper than blood or words. Inside the house, over bowls of pap and groundnuts, Tommy told her story. Her mother's name was Nora, a name Jamila hadn't heard in years. Nora had been Jamila's closest friend before she left the village. They were like sisters. They dreamed of moving to the city together, but only Jamila had the courage to go. When Jamila left, Nora stayed behind, but her life became harder. She got married to a man who later abandoned her. She raised Tommy alone, telling her stories about her best friend, who once ran away but would one day return. When Mama was sick, Tommy said quietly, "She told me if I ever met you, I should tell you she forgave you, and that she still believed in the woman you would become." Jamila's eyes filled with tears. She covered her face, shaking. "I left her. I left everyone. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I destroyed everything." Tommy reached across the table and held her hand. "No, Auntie. You didn't destroy anything. You survived. That's what Mama said. She said you were the strongest person she ever knew." For the first time in 20 years, Jamila let herself cry freely, not from shame, but from release. Over the next few weeks, Jamila and Tommy became inseparable. Tommy helped her clean the old house, repair the roof, and plant flowers around the compound. The neighbors watched in silence, then slowly, one by one, they started greeting Jamila again. It was as if the village was waiting to see if she would run again. But she didn't. One afternoon, Jamila told Mama Dami, "I want to open a small center here, a place where young girls can learn sewing, reading, anything. Something that helps them find what I never had, a way to dream safely." Mama Dami smiled proudly. "Then that's what you should do, my daughter. You're not too late. You came back for a reason." With help from Idris, who still visited sometimes with quiet kindness, Jamila started her small women's center. At first, only 2 girls came. By the 3rd week, there were 12. By the end of the year, there were more than 30. They called it House of Hope. Months later, a man arrived from Lagos, a journalist doing a story about women who returned home to change their communities. When he asked Jamila for an interview, she almost refused, but Tommy encouraged her. During the interview, the man asked, "After all the pain and everything you lost, do you ever regret coming back?" Jamila smiled softly and said, "No, because I didn't just come back to a place. I came back to myself." Those words later became the headline of the article. "I came back to myself. The story of Jamila." The article spread. People who once judged her now came to learn from her. Some even donated sewing machines and books. The same road that once carried whispers now carried laughter and the sound of girls learning. Jamila thought success meant never coming back, but now she knows coming back was the real success. She didn't find riches, but she found peace. She didn't rewrite her past, but she gave the future a new name. Sometimes, life takes us far away so we can learn what truly matters. And sometimes, the road home is the longest, but also the most beautiful journey of all.